TMPers, people from the internet, anyone who's going to find this review video, Nutnfancy coming at you with a tabletop review of the new and outstanding SIG P238 subcompact 380 pistol. This thing is a winner, guys. I will tell you that right now. We'll prove as much as I go down my talking points you see before you. I will usually give you a lot of detail, weighing in on my own preferences, my own philosophies of how this little gun should or might be employed, both as a law enforcement official, as a civilian sheepdog, you name it. It has a lot to offer you, a lot of coolness too. It's a SIG. You guys know I'm a big SIG fan. I'm going to be cruising and actually under the gun, no pun intended, in order to finish this within 30 or so minutes. I'm going to try, but I really want to do that. As we go down the talking points, I'm going to roll in some comparison guns against the SIG P238 to maybe illustrate a point or two if you are thinking about spending your hard-earned money on this gun. Let's get going, starting off with philosophy of use. This is a very small gun to carry. We'll talk about that when we get to size and weight right there. But it could be a primary concealed carry permit holder's gun, or as I've talked about in some other videos, it could be an outstanding choice for a police officer as a backup gun, or a law enforcement officer of whatever type. I generally don't like carrying my gun on the ankle, but sometimes that's your only option as a cop or as an officer, whatever variety. That's because you have so much gear elsewhere on your body, or your concealment options kind of dictate carriage of your gun on your ankle. And it's better on your ankle than having no backup gun at all. But I tell you right now, I'm very picky on which guns I think are suitable for ankle carriage. Very picky. One of them would be the kel-tec P238. I think I said as much in my review of this outstanding 380 pistol. A direct competitor against the SIG P238. We'll talk about how it stacks up as we go along. But this carries nicely on the ankle. That's because it's very lightweight, very compact. The P238, though, is right there with the P3AT or the Ruger LCP for that matter. It is small enough to carry on your ankle, and as such, cops, great backup gun. Philosophy of use, though, remember in my firepower versus mobility philosophy, it is better to have a gun with you than no gun at all. A lot of guys say that, but I really mean it. As you saw in my obligation of carry video that's been out there a while, pretty popular. If you're going to be a concealed carry permit holder, you have taken on the role of a civilian sheepdog for your friends, yourself, your family, maybe some other good people that are right near you as you are threatened. You probably ought to have your gun on you all the time. I call it high percentage of carry. If you're going to do that, choose something comfortable for most people. There's some other people out there that say, you know what, I'll carry my 40-ounce 1911 and I do so regularly. I salute those people. Awesome. Most people are not that way. They find that once they start carrying, a 2-pound chunk of metal on themselves, they start leaving it at home. That's where SIG P238 comes in handy. It is not the most powerful gun out there. It is not the most awesome man stopper out there, but it's a gun. And the first rule of having a gunfight is having a gun. P238 rocks in that. So philosophy of use, great choice for concealed carry permit holders and law enforcement officers who want a backup piece. And I'll roll this in as well. If you are a 1911 user and you want a backup piece, the SIG P238 will excel. That's because it has the same battery of arms as your 1911. It's cocked and locked carry, or condition 1, round in the chamber, hammer back. Kind of like this. By the way, this is, of course, safety check. And that's how you would carry the SIG P238. We'll talk a little bit more about that in ergonomics. But the same manual of arms or battery of arms, whatever you want to call it, for your 1911, here it is in a very diminutive form. You won't have to retrain yourselves. Awesome little piece, and it functions in all those roles outstandingly. Let me roll this in now, and that is my reference 380, so to speak, has always been, in a lot of ways still remains, the Walther PPK. I know I need to do my tabletop on this. You'll see it eventually. The Walther PPK is probably one of the most outstanding 380 pistols in the world, if not the quintessential 380 pistol in the world, to me. That is because it is extremely reliable, extremely accurate, capable of sub 2-inch groups at 25 yards. You heard me right. I know because I've shot them with this very gun. Great sights, great ergonomics. Downside, yeah, it's about 22 ounces, 21.5 ounces. It's all stainless steel frame. This is the normal model, not the S model, so 6+1. That's a reference 380 though. A 380 that is capable of headshots at 25 yards. And you can't say that about a lot of guns. Probably not about the Ruger LCP, not about the Kel-Tec P238. Okay, I'm kind of jumping ahead to accuracy. But as we go along, or as I went along in my own shooting of the P238, I compared these two guns in a lot of ways. Can the P238 unseat, in my opinion, Nutnfancy's opinion, the Walther PPK? We'll have to wait for that verdict. Back to size and weight. It is small, and that is a very important consideration when we get back to the POU, especially if you're going for ankle carriage, inside the waistband, even inside the pocket carriage. It weighs out at 13.6 ounces on my scale with an empty magazine in it. SIG's website's a little bit incorrect. I think they say it's around 15 ounces. I just threw it on the scale. It's under 14 ounces. That's super lightweight. By way of comparison, again, the PPK, 21.5 ounces. That's a chunky 380 in my opinion. Compared to what's out there, kind of like the Kel-Tec P238, 9.2 ounces empty magazine. The Ruger LCP is not far behind. I have a tabletop on that. I've talked at length about this gun. It's outstanding. I love it. Great gun. But this competes very favorably with all of these guns on the table. Very favorably. 15 ounces is very carryable. It is a weight that will not bug you. And if you're going to have a high percentage of carry, you want something that's comfortable in use. I don't subscribe to, hey, you know, you're a concealed carry permit holder. You have to just, you know, get used to packing along a 1.5 pound, 2 pound gun with you everywhere you go. I don't agree with that. I think there's a lot of lightweight options out there. I have covered many already in the project. The Car PM9, the Kel-Tec PF9 are great 9mm options, 40 cal options. Now we have the SIG P238. Weight is very manageable. 15 ounces is nothing for what you're getting. How about that dimension? As I've said in some other videos, that is probably one of your most critical dimensions on how comfortable that gun is to carry. We're looking at width here. Rolling in again, the Walther PPK, you can see they are about the same width. In fact, I didn't mic them out, put them on the micrometer, but I think the SIG is actually even just slightly more narrow if I discount the actuation levers, like the slide stop and the safety on the side. But that is slim. I've carried the Walther PPK for over, gosh, I don't know, ballparking it here, 20 years in concealed carry, and very comfortable in carry. Yes, a little bit on the heavy side, especially for a 380, but see how flat that is? Flatness is one of the most critical dimensions in deciding whether you're going to leave that gun at home or you're just going to make it an everyday part of your attire. And the SIG P238 has it in spades. Maybe not quite as narrow as a Kel-Tec's P3AT on the bottom or the Ruger LCP. You can see there is a slight difference in width, but man, trust me, it carries very, very nicely. It is a home run in terms of size and weight for what you are getting. The firepower on this little gun is standard. You're usually, when you get a subcompact 380 pistol, it's going to be 6 rounds plus 1 in the magazine, or 6+1. The SIG P238, that's what you get. By the way, I'm doing this in high def, so you can get a very good look at this gun. I haven't even cleaned it since I shot it, so it's coming at you dirty. 6+1 also for the P3AT, same for the Walther PPK. See what I mean? It's kind of the standard. That's one more round than you'll get with a subcompact revolver, maybe a la Ruger LCR, Centennial, or one of the subcompact airweight Smiths. So the 380 in some ways has it over the little revolvers, at least in terms of firepower and speed of reloading. I think I can reload this a lot quicker than I can a revolver. Maybe it's because I'm a born and bred auto guy, and maybe born and bred revolver guys can beat me. Probably can, but this is a fast reloading. So firepower is limited, but remember the POU. The P238 knocks another one out of the park in terms of accuracy. I come away very impressed with this little gun in my own shooting, both out in the tactical clinic, i.e. the desert of the western U.S., and outdoor shooting, and also indoor shooting at about 12 yards I have found the P238 to be amazingly accurate. And that's assuming you do your part, that you know how to handle a small gun, that you know how to manipulate the trigger in such a fashion you don't throw your sight picture off. It's really hard to shoot a small pistol, as I've said in some other videos before. But assuming you got all that down, you will find that the SIG P238 within about 12 yards can print a 2-inch group. If again you do your part. Mine varied, as you can see, from, I don't know, 2-3 inches. I didn't measure them and I forgot the targets, but you'll see them in video there. Just impressive. I mean, I was working the headshots with a P238 in rapid succession, basically blowing out one single hole at 12 yards in the body area. Just amazing. Now, I did find with the Blocky Sights, I'm kind of jumping ahead in the talking points here, the sights are chunky, just like on other SIG pistols, P-series pistols. You don't have a ton of precision, and so you kind of need a manoid or man-sized target to do well on them. At least I did. When I shot the little small squares that are pretty much designed for scope use, I didn't do so good. And for me, keep in mind, I'm really picky. For me, good is basically one hole at that range, or at least the rounds are very tightly clustered. Still probably in the 3-inch category. I don't know. Didn't measure it. You'll see them there in picture form. But when I was shooting the little squares, it was tougher for me with these sights to shoot it accurately. I rolled in a bad guy target there at 12 yards. No problem. Assuming I was doing a good job, one hole basically with this gun. Amazing. Amazing. On par with the outstanding Walther PPK. And that is another reason why I consider this the quintessential 380, because of its amazing accuracy. Can you do a headshot with a P238 at 25 yards? It would be tough. I got to be honest with you. You guys know I'm always honest with you. That's because the sights are not as precise as those on a PPK. You can see they're kind of blocky, combat style of sights. We'll talk more about them here in a sec. The PPK has very fine index sights, and you can gain a lot of precision with these sights. Not to say it can't be done, but you'd have to train for it. But again, that's kind of a ridiculous range for this type of gun. You're looking at within 10 yards, close combat, where it would be employed. There is, of course, an off chance, especially as an officer, law enforcement official, if your other piece, for whatever reason, is taken from you, you lose it, it doesn't work, it's busted, you may have to take a longer shot. If you practice with it, I think the P238 is capable, but it's going to be tough, especially under stress because it's only 15 ounces unloaded. That means you're going to have a lot of wiggle with your stress. Remember, you're going to lose about 50% of your proficiency. The best day you've ever had, you're going to lose about 50% of that when you're under stress in a close combat situation. So, really tough. The gun's capable. The question is, are you capable? Don't know. Accuracy, I'm just going to say, yeah, it's a home run. Outstanding. Outstanding. How does it compare against P3AT before we leave that? The P3AT is also good. I cannot slam this gun. I proved it in the desert. You've seen the shots that I've made with this gun, both on video and photographic form. Extremely impressive at the same range that I shot the P238. That long double action trigger, though, is a lot tougher to manipulate. Gives you many more opportunities for misses with this gun than perhaps you do with a single action trigger on the P238. So guys who like that 1911 trigger, the single action, here is your 380, no doubt. That leads us to ergonomics. How are the ergonomics on the gun? Outstanding. I sound like a broken record, don't I? But I just love them. Everything is where it should be. By the way, I am a fan of their ergonomics on a 1911. My main beefs with 1911s, I don't want to get on a sidetrack here, are just weight and firepower. But I love the ergos on them. I like where the slide release is. I like where the safety is. I have no issues at all with a cocked and locked style of carry. Of course, again, safety checked. I don't have any problems carrying a gun like this at all. Let's talk to this though. If you are a newbie, if this is going to be one of your first guns, this is a more complicated gun to use and carry. Let me just say use and employ under stress than this gun would be. The kel-tec P3AT or the LCP. You pull this one out, you stroke the trigger, it fires. You pull this one out in a cocked and locked condition 1 carry, you have to remember to disengage the safety. That is a training issue. Don't laugh. I know guys say, well, that's no problem. Well, if you are trained with a 1911, yes, it's no problem. But I'm talking to my newer viewers or my subscribers who don't have a lot of gun experience. You have to practice with this over and over and over again. The gun is extracted from the holster. You bring it out. It's cocked and locked. Safety comes off. You do that presentation after presentation after presentation, so your muscle memory gets used to the fact that you cannot just go to the trigger like many of the guns that are made today and shoot it. You're going to have to sweep that trigger or the safety off if you're going to engage. Are you with me? Do not discount that. If I was your gun store clerk at the counter, I would really spend some time with you in evaluating what kind of shooter you are before I sold you a SIG P238. If you are an experienced shooter and you come to me with a lot of 1911 experience, I'm not going to spend much time on it, if any at all, because I know you know the gun. I know that you're comfortable with that battery of arms and you can do it. If you're, let's say, a female shooter with no experience at all, I would probably steer you towards a P238 or an LCP. It is an easier gun to use than the P238. In a way, it's kind of an expert's gun. I'm going to roll this in now. This is actually a resurrection of the Colt Mustang gun. And I used to shoot those a lot in the 80s. I have two friends that had one. Now the Colt Mustang 380 pistol is kind of revered. That's kind of what I gather. That people go, oh, the Colt Mustang, that's such an awesome gun. I can't believe they discontinued it. Here's Nutnfancy keeping it real for you. The Colt Mustangs I fired were pretty much a bunch of crap. They jammed all the time. It was rare indeed that you could find a Colt Mustang that ran 100% out of the box. Now, if you tune a Colt Mustang and spend some time with it, or if you got a good one, I'm not saying there weren't good ones out there, the gun was excellent. It was just as small and lightweight and compact as a P238. In pretty much all dimensions and weight, this is a Colt Mustang. But let's not kid ourselves, let's keep it real. The Mustang has some real issues, at least in my own experience. You know, and that's from my own experience. This isn't internet rumor, groupthink, or anything like this. It's from my own shooting, seeing the guns jam time and time again. The owners just shrugging their shoulders, go, I don't know what the problem is. So the Mustang, I don't know. I'm not a fan, never have been. Now, if you tune it and spend some work on it, or do some work on it, outstanding. Terry at Impact Guns, a gunsmith up in Ogden, has a very sweet Colt Mustang. Awesome trigger on it. It's 100% reliable, just as accurate, fast shooting, compact, and cool as this gun. So you can get them to there. But guess what? P238 comes to you that way out of the freaking box. Just as all guns should, it runs 100%. Talk about reliability here in a little bit. Ergonomics, though, are excellent. The trigger is single action, like I mentioned. Compared to the Walther PPK, it stacks up nicely. I do like the PPK's trigger. You know, the double action first shot, transitioning to single action, also safety checked. And the single action on the PPK, outstanding. I've always liked it. I don't want to dry fire this gun, but it's just superb. I do notice a little bit of creep on the SIG P238 trigger, and I didn't have a trigger scale. Looked to other data points for that, but I found it very easily manipulated, pretty crisp let off, and I think that led to the accuracy, which I've already talked about. Very nice on the trigger. The sights, like I mentioned, blocky. But the good news is they're Tritium Sights. How cool is that? Let's see if this thing can pick it up. I don't know if it can. If it won't. Oh, here we go. Yeah, you see him. Oh, that's a video camera turning on its lights. That's funny. I forgot it was on auto light. Tritium Sights on a 380 as it comes from the factory. Is that so cool or what? Moreover, you probably didn't see it there. The front dot is brighter than the rear two dots. I'm not super sure. These are not Tritium Sights. These are just white index marks on the rear sight. Not really sure what they function as. You know, is it belly firing? I don't know. I don't know what those are for. The Tritium Sights are excellent, though, and I love having that option. And if I were to choose the two sights between the Walther PPK, the P238, and rolling in the P3AT, I will probably opt for the P238 sights because of the night option as it comes from the factory. I don't have to spend any extra. I don't have to root around for finding very difficult sights to locate. on a 380. They just come that way. Good job, SIG. I love the sights. Again, if you can get past the blockiness, maybe just a little bit less preciseness than the PPK sights. The feel is outstanding. These are aluminum grips, and incidentally, on their webpage, SIG shows that, I don't have it up, I think they show the dual tone version wearing like silver grips, but the ones I'm seeing are just like this. The matte slide, the matte silver slide, and then black matte aluminum grips. A good looking gun. Isn't that cool looking? And these provide an amazing amount of traction for what they are. I wouldn't do anything with the grips. I wouldn't replace them. I would just run them just like they come from the factory. Very nice. I love the grips on the P238. Great trigger, great sights. We already talked about the controls. They're everywhere they should be. While we're in ergonomics, let's talk about this. The magazine release. This is kind of the Achilles heel for these subcompact kel-tecs and Rugers, is it not? You've seen me in the desert. I mean, here I'm an experienced shooter and my thumb kind of dropped down, accidentally actuated that magazine release, dropping the magazine just that far, and now we've got problems. We just turned our semi-automatic pistol into a single shot. Of course, we do our tap, rack, and bang drill to get it back in action, but you've got to watch that thumb as you shoot these subcompact 380s so you do not actuate that magazine release. The P238, not such an issue. If it is, I did not notice it in the shooting. After several hundred rounds of ammunition through this gun, I just never accidentally actuated that. And as you can see, it kind of buries level with that aluminum grip. Nicely done. Love that. So that's a huge thing. No serrations on the front handguard. Most guys will say, oh, thank heavens. I like them. I always shoot my guns like that. I know it's crazy, but I shoot good that way. Got lots of video to prove it too. Just a good looking gun all around. Another home run, ergonomics. I really don't have anything bad to say. Just considering, of course, it's a 1911 battery of arms, and that takes a little bit of additional training. That takes us to field strip and maintenance, and I will say it is very, very simple on the SIG P238. Like every gun that we'll do this with, we'll perform our safety checks after extracting the magazine, of course pointing it in a safe direction, and then it's just a simple matter of retracting the slide of the SIG P238, indexing it with that little semicircular cutout in the slide, pushing from the opposite side, extracting that pin, and once that takedown pin, which also functions as a slide release, is extracted, the slide slides right off. Piece of cake. If you want to break it down further from there, easy to do. Just take out the recoil spring, the barrel, clean it up. As you can see, this gun is still dirty, haven't cleaned it yet. And putting it back together is just as simple. You just put the slide back on, index the pin in the proper location, making sure that it goes through that linkage that you can see inside there. Push it all the way. Couple racks of the slide to do your function check, and bam, your SIG P238 is back together. I give it an A for simplicity. It's just a simple gun to work on. Incidentally, I didn't mention this in ergonomics. You can see right now I'm in a condition 1. There's no round in the chamber. By the way, noobs, condition 1 means I have a round in the chamber, loaded magazine, the hammer is cocked and locked, meaning it's in its most rearward, ready to fire position, safety's in the up position. So again, to fire, I would sweep the safety down, engage. But if you want to lower the hammer, for experienced pistoleros like myself, it's really no big deal. Of course, pointing in a safe direction, sweeping the hammer down, and carefully lowering that hammer so as not to let it slip and fire around. But that, again, drives to the point I was making about ergonomics. A little bit more complicated. You will not have an issue doing that with the double action only P3AT. The SIG P238, it's an issue. There may be times when you need to do this. Don't fret and don't think it's like impossible to accomplish. It's not. You could just take a snap cap, insert it into the gun, and while you're watching TV, hanging out, pointing, of course, in a safe direction, just practice it. You know, do it over and over and over again, like I did when I was much younger, and it just becomes second nature to you. What you don't want to do is pull the trigger and then let this fly home like that. Not smart. Don't do that. Practice with it though, and you'll get good at it. Just be advised, a little bit more complicated than the double action only versions. Love the field strip and maintenance. Accessories. Well, it's a new gun, so it's probably going to be a bit before holsters come out for the P238, which are purpose built. However, it is again the same size and weight as a Colt Mustang, and there's still some relics out there or some holster manufacturers that still manufacture holsters for that type of gun, that size. Also, I have found that non-specific holsters fit this gun perfectly. Here we have a Galco Pro 460 suede holster inside the pocket variety, and you can see that the SIG P238 fits in there perfectly. How's that? Man, it looks like custom made. Amazing. And this is a very affordable holster. You can go to where I'll annotate where I got this. I'll have to check it out. I think it was Impact. Very, very affordable holster. Also, here's a DeSantis inside the pocket holster. This one is the G3 model, made of nylon, not suede this time, with high traction rubberized material on the outside. Let's see how that fits. Oh, like a glove. Look at that. The P238 you will find fits in a lot of holsters, some of which you may already have. So I don't think it's a huge issue. I think, again, it will fit nicely in a variety of ankle carry holsters. It's just so small and so lightweight and compact. I think the holster issue will probably be nullified because it's so similar in size to other guns of the same variety in POU. Versatility, we kind of hit on that in the philosophy of use. You know, defensive carry gun, backup piece for cops, whatnot. It's a versatile gun. Would it be a recreational piece? Would you want to go out and shoot this? I mean, recreationally, I don't think so. Not with the price of $380, unless you reload a lot, and even then, the components are going to cost a little bit. I think ammunition, by the way, is probably just going to go up in price, not down, unfortunately. So probably not a recreational piece, just too expensive. Definitely fun though. I will say I had an absolute blast firing the P238. I wish I'd had like, 3 more boxes of ammo. I could have shot it all day. It's just fun. And the triple taps just go quickly. It's easy to control, back on target, superbly accurate, great trigger, just a fun gun to shoot. And by the way, I forgot to mention ergonomics, no slide bite like this gun does, a regular PPK. By the way, notice this is the older style PPK, not that which from Smith & Wesson, which has the extended beaver tail. This one doesn't. And a normal PPK like this will give you some hammer bite if you have big hands like I do, or larger size hands. P238, no such issues. Just super enjoyable. That brings us to value. This is a hit on the gun. It is not cheap. Just like all things SIG, they charge you a freaking arm and a leg for them. But that's SIG. That's also H&K. If you want to join the party, Richter, you're going to have to ante up with the money. I can't say a price for sure. I will say ballpark around $450, maybe more, maybe less, maybe around, I've been hearing around $500 since it's new, but I think once things calm down, maybe $450, $425 for this gun, and that's a lot of money, especially since it only comes with one flippin' magazine. Okay, bad job SIG on that. You should have included at least 2 magazines with that. Shame, 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 shame. Nice mag, by the way. Look at that. Stainless steel. Excellent construction. Great mag. But let's just say $450 for the ballpark figure. That's a lot for a $380. Especially when you consider that the double action only subcompacts coming in about, I don't know, half to 3/4 of that. Let's say 3/4. Maybe around $250. That's a big price difference. You need to determine if it's worth it. Value is always in the eyes of the beholder. Depends on what you like, what you're after. Also, here we go with some philosophy. I would think long and hard before buying this gun versus maybe a 9mm or 40 cal offering like the PM9, which is essentially the same size. Little bit chunkier, but the PM9 empty weighs 16.6 ounces versus 13.6. Yes, it's heavier, much more substantial cartridge. If you go with a PM40, even more so. So is it worth it? Do you want to stick with a 380 chambering? Okay, we're talking about the first type of cool here, capability and roll. You have to determine that. I don't think I feel, horribly underarmed when I'm carrying a 380. My defensive load of choice for many years has been the Federal Premium 90 grain Hydroshock jacketed hollow point. Comes out of the barrel around 1,000 feet per second, about 200 foot-pounds of energy. Within 15 yards, it will get the job done if you can connect. But it is inferior to other loads along the lines of 9mm, 40, 45, even much more so. So you need to determine if that reduction in stopping power is worth it to you, especially when you're talking about a $450 gun. Granted, the PM9 is a lot more, but you're kind of in that ballpark. So you need to determine, And this is what I'd be telling you if you came to my gun counter. I would spend some time with you. Maybe I would steer you towards a PM9. If you are only going to get one gun for compact carry, and if your system can take the slightly increased size, you can see it's thicker and longer, the PM9 there. If your system can take this increased size, I might steer you towards a PM9 over the P238. Just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real, guys. Having carried this gun on the left for thousands upon thousands of hours is extremely comfortable in carry, even more so the P238. So we would spend some time talking about comfort. How, what systems or what clothing do you anticipate wearing with this gun? If you live down in Florida and you're always wearing shorts, you're always wearing t-shirts, maybe the P238 makes a lot of sense. But it is a 380 and it does cost a lot of money. So I will have to say the value on this gun is somewhat out of whack in regards to the competition. Now, if we keep in mind that it is a SIG, now we're flexing into the second type of cool. And guys, by that I mean enjoyability and just enjoying the gun because it's so cool. You like the looks, you like the way it feels, you like how light it is, you like how fast it fires. All those things that turn you on are A-OK. And if you are a SIG fan, which I am a diehard SIG fan, then that money is probably worth it, 380 chambering or not. That's my assessment on value. So it depends on who it is. If money is tight, maybe it's not the best choice. There's some others out there. But if you're happy with the 380, you want maximum concealability, you love the 1911 battery of arms, the single action trigger, the coolness, how good it looks, how exclusive it is, probably money well spent. Durability and reliability, I will say in the several hundred plus rounds that we fired out of the P238, not a single jam. That's shooting mostly this PMC ammo right here. High quality ammo. And this is about the only kind I could get. Actually, no, it wasn't. We had some Winchester white box. 2 boxes of that we went through. PMC, not a single jam. Also, for you, yeah, that's right, you, my beloved subscribers, went through 2 boxes of Hydroshocks. 40 rounds. Very expensive. Not a single jam. Very accurate with this round, by the way. Very accurate. Reliability, superb. No break-in period at all. Unlike maybe the kel-tecs, maybe some of the Rugers, they might bob a little bit till they're broken in. SIG P238, at least in my firing, and this is just my data point, was 100%. I'm out of time. I got to hurry. Durability, only time will tell. Only time will tell. Don't know. It's too early to say. We need hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rounds for this before we can say, yeah, it's awesome, or maybe not so awesome. And that's the same for track record. It's just too new. I suspect, knowing that SIG spent such a great deal of time and engineering on this little gun and did such a wonderful job with it, apparently, that it will blow away the Colt Mustang for reputation and durability. I think you will find that it will, this is my prediction, that it is going to rise to the top of the heap for concealable pistols for officers. It will be one of the favorites for police officers, federal officers, and whoever else can carry it on duty. You will see the SIG P238 lauded in all circles, and it will be a huge hit for SIG. And I think its reliability, its durability, and all that is just outstanding. Out of time. Nutnfancy with a tabletop review of the SIG P238. If you can't tell, I absolutely love this gun. Does it officially replace the Walther PPK, in my mind, as the quintessential 380 semi-automatic pistol? It is a hard thing for me to say. I'm thinking probably yes. And that's because it is so lightweight, just as accurate, just as reliable, but more compact and more carryable with an awesome battery of arms, which 1911, I don't have any problems with it. It's just a superb gun. Accurate, great ergonomics, very cool looking, exclusive. That's a SIG P238. If you like SIG, if you want an ultra comfortable carry piece, you're looking at it right here. Nutnfancy signing off. Man, that was a long review, but I went just as fast as I could to cover the details. Thanks for the subscriptions, the good ratings. That's what keeps me chugging along. This one comes to you in HD. Nutnfancy signing off with this outstanding SIG P238. Peace.